But I decided to do the long trial, where the prosecutor was compelled to bring the evidence that he has against me, or even against the Nigerian Association, only for him to produce a forged manual that he called the Green Bible, which they have used to convict a lot of Nigerians, over 200 Nigerians in Italy, on the 24th of November, 2020. And we went, myself and the lawyers went through the Green Bible and found a lot of discrepancies and errors in the Green Bible. For example, page 14 of that so-called Green Bible, paragraph 3 stated that we, the criminal organizations involved in A to Z, were there. And I told the judge that I've never seen an organization that will write in a manual that they are a criminal organization. On page 31, 32, 33 of that so-called Green Bible, we have a 2017 event of a communique of the Green Circuit Association in Asaba in that book. While on page 51 of that so-called Green Bible, it said this book was written in 1978 by the University of Benin students. And I said, how can we have a communique of 2017 event inside a book that was written in 1978? So it was very clear that the prosecutor was manipulating the justice system against us. And it became very clear to me too that I was a victim of racial discrimination and manipulation of the Italian justice system by a very corrupt prosecutor, Dr. Stefano Castellani. And when we spoke to other Nigerians that were brought there, the same book, the same format, the same process papers were the same papers, the papers were the same. He only just removed your name and removed the other things and said it's Nigeria Mafia Association. I don't know of any mafia association in Nigeria. I don't belong to any mafia organization, and all those crimes are not proven. So we did all that. While I was there, on the 28th of October, 70 Nigerians were arrested for the same mafia-related offenses, and the only thing they showed on television was a kitchen knife as a proof of evidence. Meanwhile, they still use these 416Bs, Article 416Bs of the Italian Mafia Criminal Code. On the 26th of September, while I was still in prison, 20 Nigerians were convicted and sentenced to 140 years in prison. They were convicted with this same forged Green Bible. I have a copy of it. This same forged Green Bible was what they used. And if you Google Torino Chronicle on September 26, 2020, page 8, you will see there clearly that 20 Nigerians sentenced to 140 years. The appeal is coming up on the 20th of September this month, after 2 years in prison, maximum security in Italy. The 70 Nigerians that were arrested, their trial is starting on the 17th of September this month as well. I'm aware because I kept interacting with them, know about the case before I was released on the 29th of May. It cost me a lot of money to fight, to get a good lawyer. It cost us a lot of stress. My parents, my aged parents, my wife, my friends, my children, a lot of pains and stress. The only reason I'm here today is because God stood by me, and I have good friends and family that supported me to raise the money to pay for the lawyers, and were praying for me and got the evidence and proof to fight my case as well. It's clear to me that the European Union paid Italian authorities for fighting mafia. So they are capitalizing on that and putting Nigerians in prison and calling them the so-called Nigerian mafia. I'm very disappointed that I did not get the support I expected from the Nigerian government, because the governor of Edo State, His Excellency Governor Godwin Obaseki, who was my boss at that time, called the Minister of Foreign Affairs to notify him of my arrest. And a senior government official like myself and his executive commissioner, who was arrested on official duty not to get his support from the Nigerian government, is very disappointing. If that could happen to me, you can imagine the fate of ordinary Nigerians. I know that once we are arrested abroad, we are profiled to be criminals or to have committed a crime. But in this case, this is a very good example for us to know that not all Nigerians are criminals. We got in touch with the British Embassy, because I've lived in London for over 24 years and a British citizen as well. The MP got in touch with the British Embassy in Rome, and the ambassador visited me 3 times in prison. They sent me books. They were in constant touch with my lawyers. They were, concerned about my welfare, my health, and my proper legal representative while in custody. These were the things that the judge took into consideration, because they even wrote a letter to the judge, telling the judge that I've lived in London for 24 years without no criminal records, and they are interested in the case. So I'm here today, madam, to notify you of the plight of those Nigerians that are languishing in prison, held under Article 416b of the Italian Mafia Criminal Code, without any single evidence of those crimes committed. The Nigerians, I have the file which I will send to you, the names, various names, because in my case we are 53. Not in one prison, in one case. Yes. So they pull them across the Italian prisons. So the case not need to be in one state or one prison. But I have a list of over 300 Nigerians in prison, yes, in these mafia-related offenses. Some of them have been there for 4 years. The first arrest was in 2016. So they've been there. Some of them, they give the short sentence, which is 5 years, have left the prison. Then they still have some that they give 7 years, 9 years, 11 years, who are still in prison. Madam, the prosecutor is very corrupt. He knows what he's doing. When they put you in prison for 6 months, you will be compelled to agree for short trial so that you can take short sentences and go home. And that is exactly what he's been doing with them. When we did my pre-trial in July 10th, before then we asked for house arrest. He refused. And July 10th was when we had a pre-trial. I was still thinking, since I did not commit a crime, there's no evidence against me. At the pre-trial, I will be free. The judge came and the prosecutor said I should do the short trial and get a house arrest. But I said, no, then if you give me a short house arrest, you've already convicted me, which I refused. I'm not saying the 300 Nigerians are all innocent of various crimes. Some of them sell marijuana, some of them do credit card fraud, but they should be charged or prosecuted for the crime they committed. So that is what we should look at, not putting the mafia criminal code on them, which there's no single proof of all that. No, I'm not angry. I'm angry because I wouldn't say I'm angry. I've passed through the process. I've been released. I've been exonerated. The judicial process of that country, the prosecutor has the right to make his appeal, which he's going to do. After the appeal, it gets to the Supreme Court before the case is being registered, either against or for whoever they take to court. Then before I can now sue or ask for compensation, that is different. But if I do not create this awareness, these innocent Nigerians who do not have a voice will be languishing in prison for crime they did not commit. The reason I'm seated here today, years before, I have the ex-commissioner, and I am lucky to have very good friends and family who stood by me to raise the money that we were able to raise to pay the lawyers. I'm not angry with anybody. I have the right to sue the prosecutor, which I'm going to do. But I need to raise this awareness, and that's why I'm in your office today. But I think the condition is very bad. 2 years ago, one of the boys died in prison. In 2018, a Fusa, they had issue with the Italian the citizens that were in prison too. They boiled oil and poured on him. And the 2 of the guys that met in Torino prison are already running mental because of the condition of the prison there. And because it's maximum security, you are locked down 22 hours a day, every day. So you can imagine what will happen, how somebody will feel if he's been there for the past 4 years and he doesn't even know when he's going to come out. So my prayer is that I'm just to create awareness, which I'm in your office, and we plan to do a protest next week in Lagos in front of the Italian embassy. And after that, I'm going to London. We plan to do a protest in front of the Italian embassy in London as well in September. And if we don't hear from them, we'll take it to Brussels, European Parliament in Brussels. If they don't respond, we'll take it to European Human Rights Court in Strasbourg, in France. And if they don't, we'll take it to them in Rome. But I believe that by the time we do this protest, the whole world will know what is going on in Italy, and that will put them on check. So that they will not either produce the facts that they have against us, or release those boys. Because you cannot be arresting somebody for pocket picking and putting a kidnapping or armed robbery charge on that person. Like I said, these 300 Nigerians, there are some of them that does little crimes according to the prosecutor in the case file for credit cards, frauds, and marijuana. Let those boys be prosecuted for the crimes they committed, but not putting a mafia crime on them without any single evidence of those allegations. I was arrested on the 2nd of December in Amsterdam, Schiphol Airport, Amsterdam, while I was about to connect a flight from Amsterdam to Berlin on the invitation of the Nigerian ambassador to Germany, His Excellency Ambassador Yusuf Tuga, for a meeting relating to the stolen artifacts. Then again, your second question was about France and $2 million. I hope that clears it. I didn't go to Paris, I didn't go to France. There was nothing about money laundering. There was no money with me. This case has nothing to do with money or anything. I was arrested in Amsterdam on the European arrest warrant, not even Interpol. A European arrest warrant issued from Italy on a mafia-related offenses, because the prosecutor claimed that I was a mafia boss of a Nigerian mafia association. I went through the trial, 18 months, complete full trial, and I was released because the charges were not proven. The allegations were not proven. I was released by the judge on the 29th of May, Judge Paolo Gallo of the Torino Justice, and the charges were not proven. That was why I was released. Well, in London, nowhere. There was no money laundering issue at all. There was no criminal. I've never committed any crime. I've not been a criminal. I had my clear record, my criminal CROB from London, issued by the police, what do you call them? The Metropolitan Police in UK sent my CBRO check to my lawyers in Italy during the trial to show to them that for 24 years I've lived in the UK, there's no criminal record. The judge said there was nothing like Nigerian mafia in the whole case. And secondly, he said the whole process of the investigative process by the prosecutor were not properly done. And the only physical evidence presented by the prosecutor, which is the Green Bible that he has used to convict a lot of Nigerians, were proven to be forged. That is very key, and I have a copy of the Green Bible. While I was arrested on the 2nd of December, after contacting my lawyer, the first person I called was my host, the person that invited me, His Excellency Yusuf Tuga, the Nigerian ambassador to Germany. And he contacted his colleague in Holland, Ngofa Oji, His Excellency Ngofa Oji, who was very, very helpful. They came to visit me in detention in Amsterdam, and the consular director, Alex, came about 4 times as well. We tried to get a bail in Amsterdam. There was a letter that was expecting from the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Oyema, which never came. So because of that, my bail in Amsterdam was denied. Before I was extradited to Rome on the 21st of February 2020, I spoke to Ngofa Oji and pleaded with him to get in touch with his colleague in Rome, Italy, who's His Excellency Ina Yusuf, and told him about what was going on, which he did. And again, His Excellency Governor Godwin Enogase Obaseki spoke to the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Oyema, telling him that his commissioner, which is myself, has been arrested in Amsterdam, and that I told him that I'm innocent of all charges and allegations, and he believed me that the minister should please do everything possible to assist. That was my expectation, that I will get support from the Nigerian government, but that never came. I spent about 8 months or 9 months in Italy with no single visit, no letter, not even a phone call from the Nigerian embassy in Rome. That was very, very disappointing. And when we got to the judge with the ambassador, he said he cannot act without the directive of the minister. So we need to ask questions. Do you understand? So the Nigerian government was aware, but no support. But the governor did everything he could, was in touch with my lawyers and my family to support me in every way he could. There was a letter written by His Excellency Governor Godwin Obaseki on the 14th of May to the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and he copied the ambassador, telling them that when my lawyer requested for a house arrest for me, telling them that if there is a space in the embassy, they should please provide for me, and if there is no space, they should rent an apartment in Italy, which he will personally pay. No response to that letter. On the 30th of October, I wrote a handwritten letter, to the Minister of Foreign Affairs, telling him what was going on, the plight of innocent Nigerians that are languishing in prison for this so-called Nigerian mafia, Article 416Bs, without any single probe. There was nothing, no response. So, like I said, I am very disappointed that if this could happen to me, a senior government official on official duty, what is the fate of the ordinary Nigerians living abroad? First of all, they profiled us, all Nigerians. Like I told the judge, not all Nigerians are criminals. If anybody commits any crime, let that person be prosecuted for the crime they commit and arrested and convicted. Very clear. Like in the case file, there were some Nigerians doing credit card fraud and sales of marijuana. Yes, they should be prosecuted according to those crimes, but not arresting Nigerians without any single crime. I mean, I'm putting the Italian mafia criminal code, the 416Bs on them. That is my statement. Because that was what I was charged with. And because I challenged them, the prosecutor was compelled to bring the evidence he has against me. And that is when he provided a forged manual and said this is the manual that the association that he was accusing me of being the kingpin was using. And by the time we went through the process, it was proven that the manual was even forged. And they used this manual to convict a lot of Nigerians who could not defend themselves because they could not have money to take with lawyers. We are going to, we're doing a protest, a peaceful protest on the 26th of this month in front of the Italian embassy. We'll have all the media coverage, we'll have social media. That will put pressure on Italy, on the justice system to look into this matter and my concern. And if I'm lying, they will come out to refute it. But if I'm saying the truth, which I'm very sure of, and I'm a victim, because there's nobody that knows better than me in this case, they will be compelled to look at these cases and make sure that these innocent Nigerians are released. The reason I'm here today is because of my status and because I have good friends and family, and the governor of Edo State who stood by me to raise the funds that cost me millions of naira to pay. These Nigerians do not even have money. I was the one taking care of most of them, buying their needs in prison. This should not be happening. This is modern day slavery because the Italian justice system is very complex and corrupt, and they are collecting money from the European Union that they are fighting mafia. We don't have Nigerian mafia. We don't have mafia in Nigeria. You cannot use the highest Italian mafia criminal code 416Bs against people without evidence of crime committed.